Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are now in RAEs Juke Joint. You're here with Ray the Barber, as always. And I got my friend Eric. We're here again, getting ready to open up the joint. The lights are on now. The drinks are flowing. It's the holiday season, and we felt like we might bring a friend along that can bring a different element to the juke joint that we've never had before. This friend, he might have seen him before on some of our other shows. Just in the background talking shit or whatever. But he's actually gets a chance to do what we've asked him to. What we've asked him, we asked him to be on the show, and now he's actually gets to come on the show and talk about his love, his professional opinion, because he plays the sport of hockey. He's been playing the sport of hockey his whole life. Our friend. Oh, and just as a caveat, he is a scumbag. He plays Division III hockey at the Milwaukee School of Engineering, and per Greg Braggs, he is the scumbag that brings the least amount of interactions to the whole group. So here is Nick Stovchek, our friend Nick. How you doing, Nick?
I'm good, Ray. How are you? Thank you for the introduction. You know what? As long as I can get any call out from Greg that isn't, dogging me about hockey, I'll take it. So.
Yeah, and listen, like Greg brings the most unwanted interactions, so somebody's got to even out the balance of the room. Like
that is very true.
Even that out. So thanks for doing that, Nick. Thanks for doing that.
Hey, yeah. So Greg is he was like, yo, make sure you tell him he does the least amount of shit on the show.
Oh, hey man, Greg. Once Greg went full time, now he acts like everybody's got to be full time. So I would love to be more interactive if I could.
But you're too busy. Tell us about how busy you are.
Yeah, I mean during the hockey season, being a normal college student is busy as is, but then when you kind of tie in practices every single day, workouts, it leads to a lot less sleep and a lot more running around, going everywhere. But I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. And I know I got my last year here, so once I graduate, I'll probably be missing it. Come the middle of November when I'm working and then having to go home and do a whole lot of nothing. So I got to kind of cherish it while I can. But
yeah, and we're gonna talk about it a lot more, Nick, because we gotta have you talk about the Chicago Blackhawks, the superstar that they have over there. Superstar in the making. Let's just call it that. That's not annoying. Well, I don't know. We'll talk about it. But before we get into that, Eric, how you feeling tonight, bro?
Good, buddy. Good. Off work a few days. Christmas is close. I think I got all my stuff done. So Dodgers spent some more money so we can get on with free agency finally.
Well, I guess that's a perfect way to bring in what we're going to be talking about, people, because the MLB is going insane right now because the stove was cold as shit. Because we were all waiting on a pitcher from Japan to sign Yamamoto after Ohtani signed a massive 12-year, $700 million contract. And then he goes and gets his buddy to come along with him. I don't remember exactly the amount that contract was for. I want to say like another fucking Eric. I want to say for another $300 million.
Yeah, no, it was. I think it was 12,325.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah,
12,325, 50 signing, and a couple of opt-outs. I think it was like 8 and 10 or 6 and 8, something like that.
So it's just like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, Eric, so here's my question. We have Ohtani, 12 years, $700 million. We have this kid, 12 years, $300+ million, right? And they had Glasnow. I don't know Glasnow's final numbers for his contract. But they brought Glasnow in, so you got to pay him.
Yeah, he was 25 or 30 million. I don't remember it exactly either. I want to say it was 30 total for 5 years because they counted this year in there, so it was a little tricky.
And they're probably not done.
No.
I mean, the Dodgers are literally probably not done. So let's talk about this. What is this deferred money, and how does that affect the payroll?
Yeah, so Ohtani's contract, they gonna pay him $2 million a year for 10 years. So he doesn't even. So you're talking about active payroll. It gives them room now because they were sort of stuck. Like, so then at the end of 10 years, he starts making the rest of the money, the 68 million or whatever it come out to be, 60 some million a year after he's already retired or after that contract's over. And it's kind of, I think they'll figure what they do with it later. Now, the value of that contract was probably inflated because of the deferred. Like, you got to realize, like, a decade from now, $1 million isn't worth the same as $1 million was 10 years ago. So, like, they probably blew up what they actually were gonna pay him on the deal just to get him to take some of the deferred, even though a lot of it, I'm sure, was his idea because he wants to win. But right now, it just don't hurt him. So next decade, it really doesn't hurt him. It gives him captain, it gives him stuff. Now, year 11, when you're paying a player hitting the payroll 60-some million, it's not even playing for your team. That's going to be a fun conversation, down the road.
Hello, Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah.
I mean, but this is a lot worse than what Bobby gets, like a meal or a meal and a half every year. This is going to be something upwards of 60 million a year. This is crazy.
It is crazy. They
said 2041. When the contract ends, that's the last year of this contract, 2041. He will have made enough money to buy the team.
I'm not convinced. Don't be surprised. I'm not convinced
that it's not in the contract.
That it might not be in there. Like, the deferred money might be like, we'll give you X, you put X towards the team, you owe 15 or 20% or whatever the Dodgers, however the math works out. But don't be surprised.
We lost Eric. I think his Wi-Fi messed up. Hey, so how do you feel about it, Nick? When you saw that happening, what were you thinking?
Yeah, well, first off, I just thought the whole process was hilarious with Toronto and like the thing being leaked. That was just a circus clown in and of itself.
Yeah.
And then this deferred money, I feel like I've heard 10 other people try and explain it to me, and just like, it just seems like, why would you not do it for every single contract, or why would every team not try and do that? I saw a tweet the other day that was like, you shouldn't be saying like, screw you Dodgers for ruining baseball. You should say screw you to your own team because the owner isn't smart enough, or maybe their front office isn't smart enough to do this. But I don't know if that's really the case.
I heard another opinion to where the owner of the Dodgers is really not that rich. He's just fronting like he is rich until he makes enough money to pay the contracts. You know what I mean?
I just think of the Mets
he's not fucking George Steinbrenner rich. He's just not. No. I heard that. I don't know the man's pockets, but that makes sense to me. Like, I'm getting players on furlough until I get enough money to pay it off.
Yeah, right. And you got to remember, like, say you even want to spend $200 million a year, which is, top 10 in baseball, maybe even a little higher. They're going to have to pay Ohtani 68 to not play. So that's
where it doesn't add up.
They sacrifice the future for now. They're so sick of not winning. They're like, all right, everything we've tried and we can't get over the hump. I'm just going to. And in a way, too, the thing about Ohtani you have to understand, same with Yamamoto, same thing. It's a different type of investment. Because it's not only the player you're getting outside Japan money, outside streaming money. Like, it's almost like a different form of investment compared to, a player, what you bring to the team. This guy, in a way, probably almost pays for himself.
Yeah.
So do you guys think like I think? Do you think they're still not good enough to win the National League?
Yeah. I mean,
I think there's
definitely a chance of that.
Like, for real. Like, you spend all this money and you still lose to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Like, for real. Like, no, the Diamondbacks have a young, hungry squad, and they just keep adding just little pieces, tweaks to their team. You know what I mean?
And Ohtani can't even pitch this next year, and maybe even the year after that. That's why I thought it was crazy.
But they're expecting what's his name to be back on the pitching staff, Walker Buehler. But I don't know how much you're going to put on him. coming off Tommy John, you know?
Yeah.
There's two different types of teams, and I've never thought the Dodgers, same with Tampa, have been built well for the postseason versus the regular season. Like, you can rack up wins, but in those short stints, neither one of them's never quite had the firepower to get over the hump. The only year that the Dodgers got over, they played the Rays in the COVID year, right? So I mean, like, which I don't truly even count. Like, part of baseball is going through the 162 game grind, but.
So I mean, Nick brought up a good point. Why haven't other teams done that? So let's just talk about how this affects other baseball teams, preferably our Chicago White Sox. Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like Eric said it pretty easily. Like, you screw up your entire future. Like, you are essentially saying 10, 12 years down the line, you're going to have, 50, 60 million tied up in someone that's not even playing. Now, granted, if he can come back maybe in some sort of front office or coaching, but I would assume he probably wants to go back to Japan. But that would be the only negative I would see to it, is you are just limiting your future in 10, 12 years of saying, yeah, we're not going to be able to sign really anybody.
Right.
Yeah, you got to think about it. So this is the three of us on the team. I've got $250 million I can spend a year. Well, I just gave 68 10 years down the road to somebody that's not even on my roster. So now I'm down to like 170, and I still got to fill a team. It's sort of the way to look at it. But this year, theoretically, I have a $350 million team, or I have, a $70 million, because I'm not even paying him. So I'm technically only going to spend $250 to get away with $320. They're kind of robbing the old saying. They're kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul. They gave up the future to make a run right now to see what happens.
Right, and I think that when we look at the White Sox right now, they've made small moves. They've made moves to try to stay competitive after losing a lot of the core that we had. A lot of the core is gone. Tim Anderson is gone. Bad knees behind the plate is gone. I'm sorry.
Lucas
Randolph,
Lucas, Giolito, Keuchel.
Lucas is gone. My favorite guy, he's gone. Raylo is gone. Oh my God! Don't forget Clint Frazier. Please, God, don't forget Clint Frazier.
Yeah.
Eric, don't shoot me. I'm sorry.
Lynn's gone. Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely a different look.
Right, it's a different team, and now we're like, okay, we added Nicky Lopez, who probably will see every day. We added what's the other shortstop?
DeJong.
DeJong. Yep. But we still haven't made that move with our most major asset right now, which is Dylan Cease. Are the White Sox still thinking about moving Cease, in your opinion, Eric and Nick?
Nick, go ahead.
I mean, I haven't seen too much. I've just seen speculation of this. Obviously, the Yamamoto signing is definitely upping his value. And I've seen, I saw Dodgers were leading contenders to get him, so I'd assume they're kind of out of it now. My personal opinion, I think they should hold on to him. I don't know. I think trading your guy that obviously had a down year, but still considered your ace, when you have pieces that I'm not going to say can contend, but have the small possibility to, it's tough to get rid of one of your top players. But if you get a haul for them, it's tough to say no. But again, those are just prospects. I mean, then we're just going through what we did 6 years ago when we got, we were getting hyped for all these top 10 prospects. We had the most guys in the MLB top 100 pipeline. And then it just really gets back to that hope factor. It's like, well, hopefully we can develop these players, which they haven't been able to.
Yeah. So it's interesting, but I want to put a small wrap on the money thing. Like, you got to think about the Ohtani signing. The biggest thing about fans and us, I think a lot of times get lost, is the first job of the team is to make money. It's not necessarily to win. So when you're talking about Ohtani and even Yamamoto, that's a two-way investment. You're getting a character, you're getting financial rewards from Japan, you're getting merchandise, you're getting stuff that's a two-way investment. That's not necessarily to win, to win. That doesn't help them win, but that's a two-way investment. So you got to think about it from the business side a little. As far as Cease goes, I love what Nick said there, and it's been my stance in my other groups and our groups all along is like, it doesn't make sense, and I don't think they will. And I know I'm in the minority, but I'll just wait till it's over, then I'll tell everybody I was right. But it doesn't make sense to trade Cease for prospects. And the reason it doesn't make sense is you have to think about your team now. All right? You have value in your team, however you want to like spread it out, especially in Luis Robert, right? You have value. You have value in your players and your deals. By taking away Cease and not putting any value back, you're basically wasting your current value on your squad. It's just deteriorating. Like, you have to give yourself a shot or put yourself into play. Otherwise, if you're trading Cease for prospects, you might as well turn around and trade Robert for prospects. Like, you might as well put everybody in the same bunch, kind of what Baltimore had. Everybody comes up at the same time. So I do think Cease gets moved, but I think he gets moved to fill some of the other holes for major ready league players now. Now, there might be a prospect or two in there, but I'm talking guys that are young, ready to start, day one, 6 years of control, take over a right field spot. Say if they trade with Baltimore, somebody maybe take over the catching gig, and they'll probably get a couple young pitching flyers. This is the package I could see. Now, where, when? Of course, the Yamamoto thing helps a ton. If you're a White Sox fan, which we are,
let's go to LA and get some of them prospects, right?
You're rooting right now for Snell to go to the Angels. Is what you're rooting for. And I'll tell you why you want him to go there, because Angels aren't in a Cease market. But I don't want the Giants. I don't want Toronto. I don't want the Yankees. I don't want anybody that could possibly be in the Cease market to get Snell, because that'll take him out of it.
Right.
I want these people left on the cool. Now, the Angels are all after Snell because they know that they're 2, 3, 4 years down. So signing him to a 6-7 year deal, they can build up under him. He becomes the foundation piece along with Trout. But if the Yankees land Snell, that takes them out of the Cease deal. If the Giants land Snell, it takes them out of the Cease deal. And I want as many people fighting for Cease as possible. I think he probably ends up in San Francisco if I had to guess. I think they're incapable of landing free agents at this point, and they're going to get frustrated. And it's probably the best overpay situation for us would be to trade with the Giants, but that's how I see it going down anyway.
Yeah, I like the Dodger idea better. I don't like the prospects in some of the players. Like, if we could get like Luis Matos that has upside, I don't know if he's ever going to have that pop that he should have. They have a catcher down there that I kind of like, but I don't like him as much as the two catchers in LA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have a shortstop, but they're not going to ever move off him because Xander's getting old and they're going to need a shortstop soon. So it's like they have players in San Diego, but I think that like ready to go players right now, in my opinion, after scouting for fantasy baseball, like the Dodgers have a really good farm. I mean, I'm not saying San Francisco don't have a good farm. It's just they're like Dodgers a little bit higher.
Yeah, I mean, the package I could see for San Francisco would be their young shortstop, like you said, and they're in that they got a young righty. It's ready to go right now. Like, that's the kind of move
I know who you're talking about.
I'm trading like 2 years of Cease for 6 years of this young righty, and I'm filling my shortstop hole right now for the next 5 or 6 years. I think that's the kind of move you're going to see them make, where they're both ready to play now. They're young. Let them go through some of their bumps, but maybe they just pop up and surprise somebody like Arizona did too. But the Cease for prospects for AA people, and there's a lot of people out there, and a lot of them been around White Sox Twitter for a long time, and I don't understand how they're still there. But like, it makes zero sense, and it's not going to happen. If that happens, you might as well say goodbye to Robert next year, because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and a lot of people think that Robert's going to be here for a lot of 2 years, but another player that people are forgetting about that still has value is Eloy.
Yeah, it's so close. Yeah. I could see him being moved. I don't think they'll probably do it, but at the deadline, if somebody needs a slugger, I could see him being moved.
I would see them trying to do it in the middle of the year. If he can show that he can stay at least somewhat healthy and not, be on the IR every couple weeks. But he's definitely a piece that you would try to move in the middle of the year.
That's kind of fucked up, Nick. I can't believe you're sitting here saying that Eloy Jimenez is on the IL every 2 weeks.
It might be sooner than that. It might be sooner than that. So that's fair.
That's pretty fucked up. Eric, as we're talking about like this money situation, whatever, I came across a funny tweet. Nick, you're gonna like this one. So shout out to Mason Hall at Loaded Bases Pod. I was just looking at whatever, but I came across this tweet. So he said the Dodgers are not done. He said Blake Snell, Dodgers, 7 years, $200 million. Matt Chapman, Dodgers, 6 years, $150 million. Cody Bellinger, Dodgers, 8 years, $250 million. Josh Hader, Dodgers, 6 years, $110 million. Jordan Montgomery, Dodgers, 6 years. He just goes, it just gives everybody to the Dodgers because of the deferred money. I thought it was fucking genius. It was a beautiful fucking tweet. Shout out to him.
That's something else that's important too, that you have to realize when Cease's value and why it was smart if Getz couldn't get what he wants to wait.
Yeah.
Every team that misses, Giants, Toronto.
Yeah.
Chapman,
they're scrambling right now.
I'll give you Chapman, Bellinger. These guys benefit.
Yeah.
Because now the fans are like,
do something.
Toronto, we've missed on everybody. We haven't done shit. Like Giants, like we missed. We haven't done nothing. So like,
and we lost Chapman in Toronto. Like we lost something. Give us something.
Yeah. So everybody benefits once some of these big names fall off because the losers feel that much more pressure to go get somebody.
Hey, another tweet underneath that last tweet is from Duncan Holnut. His name is Duncan Holnut, at Duncan Holnut. He says all payments deferred until the 129th generation of their bloodline. He said
that's going to be something that's actually.
I wish I would have prepped a little bit better. I'm sorry to the guys that I just shouted out. I would have put it on the screen had I fucking found them soon enough. But that's
Nick brought up a good point about who you should blame, and people are like, well, you should blame your own team. You should blame your own team. I'll tell you who you blame. Do you know who the first people that got up, threw their damn hat across the room, and knocked over their coffee was the people that put together the CBA for the MLB side.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That was a loophole they should not have allowed to happen. That is not what they wanted for the sport. They do not want a monopoly in the Dodgers system. That is not what they ultimately want. Like they left out a hole there, and somebody found it, and they walked through it. Like somebody screwed up the accounting there.
So somebody did look at the books real good. Shout out to Nick being with us today. Nick is actually a business major, and he deals with numbers all the time, Eric. So that's what he's doing there at the school. Outside of playing hockey, he's learning how to cook books,
balance the book.
Yes.
And this is one hell of a way to do it. I think this is a little bit more of like contract laws and stuff like that, because someone had to have just snuck it in there, like Eric said, and just was like, you know what? Hopefully this will never happen. Hopefully nobody actually looks at this.
There's always a nerd in everybody group that's going to read everything.
Like the MLB guy that missed it, he's at home fired for the holidays, like drinking whiskey, probably cheap whiskey because he's got fired.
Because he got
fired. And the guy for the Dodgers that found
out the bottle, he's just
he's straight out the bottle. And the guy for the Dodgers that they have on their staff that found this loophole, like he's sitting around with driving a Porsche, drinking all this, every high-end bottle you can have at his house for holidays. Like that's the difference between somebody did their job right and somebody did their job wrong.
Yeah, I mean that's the crazy part, because you got a whole loophole that kind of just shifted the whole diagram or the whole way contracts are created, like in one off season. Like we used to be mad about George Steinbrenner just opening his fucking pocketbook and just throwing money at players and buying championships, right? Now here you're doing the same thing with a little bit of a twist on it, because it was a CBA and somebody actually found the loophole, and people are like, well, this is unfair. No, it's not. It's fair as fuck because it's right there.
It's a business. if you're going to give me a loophole, I don't care if you like it or if you don't like it, if it wasn't the intent. If I can do it and I can make my team better and I can make more money, like you don't think the Dodgers are going to make close to?
They're going to make mad. They're going to make.
Yeah, they're going to make an absurd.
So they're going to make half, 3/4 of his contract in just
2 years
publicity and stuff over the next 10 years before they have to pay him?
Absolutely.
Like, he's going to end up almost being free.
Because they're saying they're spending $1 billion this year, but they're projecting in the next 3 years to make $3 billion from all of the stuff you're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like,
because
years.
You got a whole country that they just watched the United States versus Japan on March, whatever the fuck, in the WBC, right? One of the best games of baseball that was played in the last however many years, right? And you saw all their stars. You know, you saw Ohtani, you saw Yamamoto, you saw Murasaki. That I don't know how he's not over here yet. That big fucker can
not old enough yet.
Murasaki's not.
Oh no, he is.
No, not Roki. No, not Roki. No, I'm talking about. He's a hitter. He crushes balls. Like he hit one like 452 feet in that final game. Long story short is they have talent in Japan, right? But then think about the fan base in Japan that just watched that, and now they get to see these two guys on the same team every fucking day. Like that's money. It's streaming from Japan costs money.
Yep.
They get a piece of that.
And the Angels never knew how to use that. What? They were just tone deaf, and that's a whole nother conversation.
I said it earlier. The Angels is probably one of the worst ran organizations in the league. Yeah. It's one of the worst.
And it was funny when Ohtani went to the Rams game, and every comment that I saw in every video was like, this man has been in LA for like 5+ years, and just now they're acting like he traveled from the other side of the country to come to this, to get traded. It's like he's in the same town.
Good marketing department, bad marketing department, right? Like
So Eric, it's like this guy comes in and he goes to the Los Angeles Angels. I don't even remember how Los Angeles got a hold to Ohtani. He comes in, he blows up the baseball world, right? But they did do nothing with him. With him and Trout.
The only thing I think that would be fair is if Trout got traded to the Dodgers. That's the only thing I think would be. They should make it be. They should make it be.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I think we spent enough time talking about this. Let's talk about let me just change this for a second. Eric, hold on, let me see. Let me get this out of here. No, I gotta get this out of here. Eric, look at your name.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So right now, people, if you didn't hear it on BGR's broadcast the other day, the family is in the middle of a fantasy draft, an early fantasy draft. We decided with the league we're having a dynasty league, that it really doesn't matter. Why wait? Right? So let's go ahead and start fucking drafting let's start drafting right now so that we don't have to wait till March. We set the date for March 10th, and it was supposed to be a whole day. But now that I'm looking at it, 26 rounds is a fucking lot.
Dude, we never would have got it in. And then the minors league after?
And the minor league that same day, yeah. So I'm kind of glad we did it early because 26 rounds is insane. But I understand now, after going through it, and we're actually going. So we're in the dynasty league now. We have a 12-team dynasty league for the Scumbags. And we're drafting right now, and we've been drafting for 2 weeks, and we're only in round 20, so we still got 6 more rounds to go. And down in this part of the draft, it starts to seem like everybody's like, man, whatever, fuck, we'll get it done when we get done. But there's a lot of shit talking happening already within the Scumbag crew. And if you've been following the Juke Joint for a while, those are all our guys from BGR and all the friends we've made over the last 2 years through the spaces. So, Nick, I know you're outside looking in on this part of it because you're not a part of the fantasy baseball world.
I would not be able to keep track. I'm going to be honest right now. No, I don't think I'd be able to, man.
It's funny because like I was telling you before we started the show, like, I got so engrossed in baseball last year. Like, I know players in the minors that people haven't even heard about right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
I'm so into fucking every fucking team. I could pretty much name at least 3 players on every baseball team right now. Maybe 5 if I really challenge myself. I could probably name 5 because I watched that much baseball last year on every team. That's stupid. And I'm 46 years old and my brain doesn't hold as much information as it used to. I can still spew out.
You can get you can get that.
And our resident friend, our resident co-host, our resident co-creator is the champ from last year's fantasy league. He is the champ. So I'm gonna give the champ a chance to talk about his team because Eric, if you didn't know, they kind of glossed over the fact that you won it.
Of course.
On the BGR show.
Well, everybody knew I was going to coming into the season, I think. So it's like it's no reason to broadcast it. I mean, I had to be the odds-on favorite.
Yeah, they kind of brushed over it. Like they said, yeah, Eric won it, and then we changed the name, and they was like, oh shit, why did that happen? But it's respect. You won the fucking Matter of fact, Nick, you don't know this. Eric was in last place probably half the year.
Wow.
Yeah. He's in last place like half the year. He just totally tweaked his team and decided, hey, I'm gonna do it this way. But now, Eric, what was your thoughts going into the drafting of a dynasty league that's going to be your team for the next 10 years?
Yeah, so it's interesting and it's a little different. So I learned my lesson last year. Like, a lot of the baseball fan stuff I've done was more of the categories. Like, if you lead the league in home runs, you get 10 points. If you're last, you get 1. So when I set up my team, it wasn't set up very well for the week-to-week battles. Like, I was dominating 4 categories and losing 10, or whatever. But they all only count 1 point. So I had to shift. But once I fired a couple analytical guys and hired a couple more, we got it figured out. So then, we took off. But, so now with the dynasty, it was at first, I traded out of the number 1 spot. I knew you could have won Acuna there, and that's the consensus number 1. But the difference between 1 and 10 isn't that much different. So I took extra values and some picks. But I think the main thing is a little extra pressure being the champ too. Some people are playing this draft different, and some people have no idea what they're doing. I'll just throw that out there. And there's way too much pillow fighting going on from teams that missed the playoffs last year. 6 out of 10 people got on. If you missed last year, your opinion what's happening this year doesn't matter to me yet. You got to prove that you get into the deal. There's too much pillow fighting going on with my people that couldn't even make the playoffs last year. Your opinion means 0 to me. There was some of that going on in the chat today, and I'm like, which one of us finished 8th and 9th? Who cares? You both sucked. You both should be working on your game. It was bad. So the pressure is some people are playing this for the future. I love kind of what you've done, Ray.
Yeah.
And I hate what that Twins fan's done. I hate that he's right behind me because he's smart too.
He's smart. He's smart as fuck. Yeah.
So he's got, he's kind of setting up for a little bit riskier now, better futures. But my goal is to be 10-time champ in a row, and you can't be a 10-time champ if you ain't 2-time champ in a row. So I made a couple picks in the middle where, I went back to back with Will Smith and Paul Goldschmidt. Yeah. And for a fantasy draft, Will Smith's all right, but Goldschmidt's in his golden years and it's probably too early. But I'm also looking to add another buckle to the belt this year. So I wanted somebody that I thought possibly could step up and do the deal. So where you're at and what your goals are with the minor league system too is interesting. I'm looking forward to that. I'm glad you guys are into it because I've been into it forever. Be able to project what I think players are going to do and be able to be. So it's been fun. I think some people should have got help drafting. I don't want to say anything, but one of them was a nickname with one of the Chicago professional teams. He should have got help. I hate his squad. Yeah. But it's been a good time. What about you?
Hey, so let me just let Nick know kind of where you are with your team. So hey Nick, so Eric is he came in first place, and right now he has a pretty decent can y'all still see me and hear me, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I'm on a different screen, so I don't know. I never asked. So Eric he picked up Kevin Gausman in the 4th round with the 12th pick. He picked up Aaron Nola right after that with the 5th round first pick, right? Then somehow, I don't even know how this happened. He ended up getting Max Fried in the 6th round, 12th pick, right?
Damn.
And then he got Framber Valdez in the 9th round. In the 9th round, he got
That
Framber.
is insane.
And
So my
then,
core,
and then, hold on, I'm not done. He still got Zach Eflin with the 13th. I mean, in the 13th round with the first pick. I was so mad because, like, here's my problem. He's the fucking defending champ, right? And people are not defending the defending champ. They're not playing defense against.
They're just glossing over him. Yeah.
Like he's not there, right? And I can't fight because I'm the 12th pick. I'm the 12th pick.
So
I
what it
can't
sounds
do
like
nothing.
from what Eric's saying is it's just a lot of people arguing that are not really in the fight, if that makes sense.
well, yeah,
you got
well,
like
I'll
you
tell
got
you,
the
like, yeah, no, I agree with you, Nick. Like, let me just say that I can't believe Asinine pulled off the worst trade since, like, probably Herschel Walker
It was
and the
pretty bad.
Cowboys.
But
like,
but Asinine was compounded because he did one last year and one this year.
yeah. But
And
then
so
he traded out of the 4 to get to the 2 when he could have got that player at the 4. Like,
Right.
I don't know if you've ever watched Draft Day, but what are you doing? Like, nobody's
Right.
taking
Nobody
Juan
was picking
Soto in the
Soto.
first 3.
Nobody was picking
like,
Soto
You were
number
going to
4.
have him in the 4. Why did you give away all that capital to move up to 2? Like, what are you doing?
And he would defend that against you next week. He would defend that against you.
He can defend it if he wants to, but it goes down as a Herschel Walker trade of football, or the Ricky Williams when the Saints gave up like every single draft pick for Ricky Williams. Like,
what really happened is I don't think Asinine. I heard him say something about this the other day. I think he said something to the effect. I may be wrong, and not if I'm wrong, forgive me. But I think he said something to the effect of, "I didn't remember how bad I made that trade last year." To the point where,
okay.
You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
I don't know if he knew that he was gonna fuck his whole shit up.
Yeah, all right, that's fair. But hey, don't forget to tell Nick my first 3 picks either. Like, I have position.
Oh, I'm sorry, Nick.
Well.
I'm sorry, Nick. Let me go back to Eric's draft.
I don't want to think I'm just pitching heavy.
No. I was just looking
I would
at
assume you don't got all pitchers. You
it
diversified your portfolio a little
the
bit.
problem was for me. I was looking at Eric's roster.
Yeah, the later round picks.
And yeah, but I was looking at it for excuse me. I was looking at it for, let me go to Eric right here. Eric is E-Class. I like your new name, E. That's dope. Because E-Class is that's
it's kind of
yeah, I get it. It's homage to Mercedes-Benz and so on and so forth. So Eric, you had your first pick. Oh, it doesn't even show me right here.
Julio Rodriguez.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the draft room. I'm gonna go back to the draft because I went to your roster. It doesn't tell me. Like, what do they? They usually, there's a spot where you can usually see.
Yeah,
like,
you can sort it by draft.
Oh, here it go. I know where it's at. I know where to go. I got it right here. I got it. Give me a second. E-Class. Here we go. So in the first round, who was your first? You didn't even.
Julio Rodriguez in the 6th.
Oh yeah, you got Julio Rodriguez in the first round, right?
Yeah.
And he was pick 6, and then in the second round he had J-Ram with the 7th pick in the second round, right?
Yeah, and then Trey Turner following that.
Yeah, Trey Turner was right after that. So Eric is doing well. I'm not gonna lie, his draft is looking good. I'm not doing too well because I was in the 12th pick, right? I was in the 12th round. I mean, as you were, I was the 12th pick in the draft. Like we said, we did the whole draft thing or whatever, and Asinine sent me this fucking link and was like, use this to do a randomized fucking draft, whatever.
Order, yeah.
So I put my name in number 1, right? And I think it fucked me.
Because they ended up putting you 12? Yeah.
And it put me 12. You know what I mean? So now that I was like, fuck it. I'm not even gonna worry about it, whatever. So we get to the draft. We open the draft, Nick, and I'm 12, and I'm like, I gotta get into this, like, whatever, right? I was thinking, like, I want to get a certain player to anchor my team for the next 7 years.
Yeah.
Right. And Dan hit me up, was like, yo, let me trade you, woo, 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 so on and so forth. So I end up getting up in the first round, 3 picks.
Oh, okay.
Right. But at the same time, I fucked up because I didn't realize I gave up my second round pick the way I did. And I missed my turn. So the value of the 12 pick is 12.
You get that 12 and then
Right.
one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's the value of that pick. So I gave away both of those and I fucked up. And then I did the same thing with Eric because I needed to get back into the third round.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And long story short, I think I did a decent job with my team. I'm struggling, but I went young because guess what? I made a trade with Mac. He's so fucking I want to be in the front runner type shit so much.
Yeah.
He wanted the number 1 pick in the minor league draft. He gave me his first round pick. He gave me his second round pick and his third round pick.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And then Dan, when I moved up in the first round, when I moved up from 12 to 9, I got his number 1 pick. So now I have 2 picks in the first round of the minor league draft. And there are guys that are very, very good that's coming up.
Yeah.
This year. Very good. And then here's the other caveat. If I decide to, I can get one of I'm not even gonna get but the international guys are in play in the minors too. Put it that way.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah, that's huge, right? So I can supplement my thoughts in the draft right now because I went very young early. I just now started to pick some older guys. Like I picked Salvador Perez in like the 20th round. So Salvi was still there. And I'm like, yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Give me that power and fucking stability for the next couple. Because the next couple of years, I need that. I need some stability, but I still have young guys all over the place. I love the Reds. I got Dalton Varsho, Thyro Estrada, but Brendan Donovan, they project him bad right now because he's been hurt, but he's gonna fucking slug. He's going to get on base. He's going to steal bases, so on and so forth. So I'm pretty happy. And my staff, I love my staff. I got Kirby. I got Peralta. I got Braxton from Miami.
Okay.
And I got somebody else that's starters. And I got a great back end. I got Clase. I got fucking Halsey from the St. Louis Cardinals. I got Joel Payams as a setup guy. And I got fucking Eric, what's his name in Toronto?
Oh yeah,
he's a setup guy, but he gets holds.
Yeah.
What's his name? God damn, I can't think of this. Eric something.
It is.
Oh, Eric Swanson.
Yep.
Yeah,
Eric Swanson. Yeah, so I got him too. So like, I'm pretty happy where I'm at. I just need some more speed. I need some more stolen bases. And I want to get some more power, but I just gave away my draft strategy to the guys that's watching because I know they all scumbags. Fuck you guys.
Yeah,
but I mean, we're so far down, it doesn't even matter. Like,
you're deep in the trenches.
Yeah, but I'm gonna literally run people's faces off with Julio, J. Ram, and Turner. Like, good luck.
Like, you're really gonna fucking have like, you're gonna put probably 90 runs up every week.
Yeah,
runs.
Yeah.
Like how Mac keeps putting his spin on his draft, right? And he's right. He's got Acuna and he's got Judge. They can give him 80 home runs this year, right?
Sure.
They could. Absolutely.
Sure.
But then again, you run the
risk. That's only one
of,
category though.
That's one.
That's one.
Here, like I wasn't gonna do it, Ray, but just because I want to be more competitive, I'll give the secret to beating this league. And Nick, you'll understand this. It's like, so we have weird categories like hit, extra base hits, home run, RBI. So like, the thing about these guys is, and the reason why I was able to take over the league last year, and I'll tell you how I did it. These guys don't change their teams. They put up the same team. So then I look at my team and I'm like, well, all right. As it sits right now, I can't beat him here, so I'll just punt. Go ahead. I don't care if you beat me 44 homers to 2. You get 1 point for that. But I'll make sure that I beat you in hits, walks, stolen bases, extra base hits. And, like, I'm just going to put all those guys down. And you look at the end of the week, and it's like, oh, look, Eric won 11-4 again. Oh, look, Eric won 12-3 again. But I would play, like, 15 different players every week. Guys would be playing the same damn lineup every week, and they would never adjust the people they were playing.
Hey, but look, Eric, that's how I won. I won 6 weeks in a row at the end of the year.
Because you and I were talking about it, and we both were changing up our lineups. I'm like,
I changed my lineup a lot because I was like, holy shit, I need speed. So here I'm still in stolen bases. I'm still in average because I got rid of all the strikeout artists that I had on my team.
Yeah.
This year, Eric, you know what my fucking average
On base.
on base percentage and my average batting average is right now on my team right now?
It's high.
Huh?
It's high. I can tell that was your focus.
Yes, it's high. So my batting average right now, my batting average on my team right now is fucking 262.
Yeah, that's high.
Right? On base percentage between the guys I got on my team right now is 391.
Yeah, I was gonna
That's
say
really
close to
high.
400. That's
So that means that like the guys I picked was like, no, we're not striking out. We're gonna stay on our fucking. We're gonna we're gonna get on base.
on base.
We're not gonna chase a lot. And I got guys that's last year I wanted guys that want that last year I wanted guys that can hit the ball far. I need guys that can hit the ball far and not chase this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then here comes Justin. He's saying Caraxis. Those are his dragons. Justin is saying that he's still. So let me just, Nick, before we move on to you, and I'm gonna let you shine here in a minute. You're gonna shine for a little bit. It says Caraxis plus baseball equals championship. So
must be the little league.
Yeah, so let me just tell you what he made a trade earlier on too. And he got out of the first round. And I thought his trade was a little bit more well thought out. He made a trade with Dan, and he gave Dan Bobby Witt Jr., but he made it up in the second round. So Justin ended up picking twice in the second round and got Michael Harris the second and Francisco Lindor. And then right after that, he ended up getting Marcus Semien. So I thought he trying to change the game because now he's got his whole infield, the middle infield and the center fielder is sewed up with quality starters, and they're young. Except for Lindor. Lindor's not young. Sorry. But well, Simeon's not young too, is he? No. But he did go get Nolan Gorman, and he got the fucking pass squatch. So that's pretty cool. But then he got Cole Reagans in the 5th round, which pissed me off because I had Cole Reagans last year, and Cole was fucking. He's going to be a stud. He's going to be a stud.
Well, what I like about this year versus last year, because last year there was some. I mean, let's just call it as it was. There was some bullshit that went on last year.
Mm-hmm.
Bullshit trades. I mean, like bad trades. Like they were trying to give a certain person the title. We had to make sure that we run them out of town, like or whatever. Yeah. Like there was some bad trades and stuff. Now this year, you know what? If you want to be an idiot and trade away your deal, eat it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you're stuck as a dynasty now. There's no like.
Yeah, I'm not trading shit, bro.
You don't get him back.
Yeah. So he said, Eric, Justin said, you made me see the light with Francisco Lindor. What did you tell him last year about Francisco?
Well, like he slid a lot last year, but you're looking for guys. We just talked about it. You're looking for guys who can affect hit, stolen base, average, power, RBIs, run scored. There's very few people that can affect all of those categories. So, like, he is one of them. He's one of them that can touch all. So, like, when I went Trey Turner and Julio Rodriguez and J-Ram, like, those guys don't strike out.
Right.
J-Rod does a little bit, but they all steal bases. They all walk. They all score runs. Like, you're looking for guys that don't just punch one category. Early in the deal, you want them for years.
Right.
So I have Julio, J-Ram, and Turner for the next, as long as I want them, holding down shortstop, third, and center field, punching 4, 5, 6 categories at a time.
And that's the reason why I drafted the way I drafted Eric, because I needed guys that's going to hit for average, and get on base, and some guys with some pop. Like I believe in Kerry Carpenter more than most people because Kerry. It's something about his swing / his approach / what he did last year. It's like he really, like I said, oh shit, Kerry's gonna be good. I'm a target Kerry. in the draft, and I am getting them. I got them late. I want to say like 14th round or whatever. Julio is going to be a top 3 player next year. He has to hit 3-4. Agreed. He's talking about Julio Rodriguez.
Yeah.
So
He should hit one.
Yeah.
He should just hit first.
You say you want him to hit in
He
one?
should lead off. He should lead off, just like Aaron Judge does. Your best player should lead off at all times. He should get the most at bats throughout the season every time. Every time the lineup turns over, they shouldn't be facing some goddamn piddly wink bunt guy. They should have to go through a goddamn real hitter.
Yeah. I mean, I get the value. I don't know, man.
It's just not 1990 anymore. Well, let's get the first two guys on base and hope somebody pops a home run. No, fuck that. That's the dumbest stuff around. Teams don't do that anymore. Why do you think Kyle Schwarber let off? Kyle Schwarber's leadoff hitter for the Phillies. Tell me 15 years ago you ever would have seen a guy like Kyle Schwarber leading off.
That's true.
But he's the most dangerous player on the team.
So I think I reached on a couple guys because they're young and they're talented. They're both from the Reds. I got Christian Encarnacion Strand. He's 24. I got Matt McClain, who's 24, and I got both of them in the second round. So, or in the third round. In the third round, I got both of them. So, but what I'm saying is, I'm trying to, like Nick, I wanted my guys to be young but talented, and to do what Eric said, to do everything
in the game. Yeah, because you can only get 1 point from the categories.
Right.
Kind of
like Christian Encarnacion Strand can't fucking steal bases.
I got so caught up last year at starting dominating categories. It didn't do me any good. I'm blowing 5 to win 2. And I'm like, timeout.
Yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. So he said Julio.
I want to go. Let's go hockey. I want to learn.
Yeah, 800 OPS in the leadoff spot was nice. Who is JP? Oh, he's talking about what's his name? He Crawford. He's talking about
Crawford.
Yeah. So all right. So Nick, Eric says, you know what? It's time. It's time for us to talk about some hockey. And so let's just start off. The Chicago hockey scene used to be just a revolving fucking door, right? Let me just tell you a story about me. Back in the day, WGN, used to watch WGN every day, and I never knew those guys were little. You know what I mean? Like Brett Hull, I never knew he was little.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I never knew that Chris Chelios was a little guy.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking, what's my man? Either way, the young guys from back in the 90s.
They're not big.
They're not big guys.
No.
Because when you grow up, you see them in these pads all the time, but you don't play the game, so you don't know you don't really know what the padding is like or whatever. But the way they play, they look so fucking big.
Yeah, they do.
Right? Because of the leg pads and the shin pads and the shoulder pads and so on and so forth. So it's like these dudes are little tiny dudes. When they take those pads off, it fucked me up. But then I started 100%. To appreciate the athleticism that comes with hockey. So
if you see some of their legs are like tree trunks. I don't know if you've seen like Bedard's legs. I mean, they are built like. I mean, maybe not to the level of like AJ Dillon or Saquon Barkley, like those type of legs, but the quads and the hips are what really moves. Like you said, the athleticism.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not, especially if you see a lot of goalies in the NHL, they come off and they look like me. They got, skinny little arms.
Right. It's like, what is this?
It's insane.
Yeah, it's insane. So just so as a reminder, people, our friend Nick, he's been playing hockey since he was a kid. He loves the game of hockey. He's a Blackhawks fan. I don't know too many people who's not right now. But he's playing in Division 3. Really, the way you look at it, there's really only 2 divisions. There's Division 1, there's Division 2, there's Division 3. But there's really only a certain amount of hockey teams throughout collegiate sports. And he plays in Division 3, but he gets to play against some quality players because of the small amount of
schools that offer
hockey, right? And so, Nick, let's talk about. Matter of fact, let's just go into it. You just brought up this guy. named Connor Bedard. He's
Yes.
come in. Last I looked, he's already at 22 points. Explain points and then go into Connor Bedard. So please do. It's like the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, he has been, I think, not greater. I should say he's lived up to all the expectations and even more just the way that he carries himself. You know, you see, we talked about it before he went on, Ray, you know, being 18 years old, he just turned 18 this summer before he started playing, and being able to hold himself in a huge hockey media town with, you know, Kane, Taves, all those years coming in, everyone has high expectations. So, and with all the, you know, there's stuff that went on at the beginning of the year with like Corey Perry and all this stuff. And, you know, there's rumors floating around everywhere, and it comes out it had nothing to do with Connor or anybody else on the team. So the fact that he's been able to hold himself up high, treat the media the correct way, and he's played at an elite level. I'm looking right now, he's got 29 points in 32 games. So almost what you look for normally is like a point per game player is what they'll call it. So, you know, like 1 point per game is usually where you try and average out.
You get points
for assists. Is that like all-star level, Nick? If you're a point,
I would say, yeah. I mean, so I'm trying to think of like the top guys. They'll probably be around like 1.7, 1.8 points per game. Okay. You know, that's like the Connor McDavid, who's the best player that probably ever played the game in terms of skill wise. And he's got 12 goals and 17 assists, which, like, the fact that he's got more assists than goals, I think, is something that stands out to me. Because when he came in the league, everyone knows he's got probably the best release for a shot, like the best shot release.
He hit one the other day. I forget who they were playing. It was like a fucking wrister. And
he like came inside and like he had no angle at all.
Oh my God. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, so everyone knew he was going to make plays like that, but I think the vision that he's had on the ice, he had a really nice pass to Reichel. It was Colorado. It was when they played on Tuesday and they actually won. And they were on, I think, a 4-game losing streak before that. But yeah, his vision on the ice is something that stuck out to me because, you know, he's not a big guy. He's 5'10", I think like barely 190. And that's really all this year is about. I know, you know, I've talked about it a little bit before, like, and I'm in a couple other group chats with some Hawks fans, and, you know, it sucks to see them lose, but you look at their lineup and their depth chart, they have a couple guys out. And then, like I said, Corey Perry left the team for his personal reasons. A guy they signed who is a veteran, Taylor Hall. He was a former number 1 overall pick, I believe in 2014 or 2013. So he had a lot of experience, but he's gone rest of the year, tore his ACL or MCL. So they're kind of getting on their last legs in terms of depth. But the only thing this year that anybody really cared about looking at is how Bedard plays, how he looks, and he's elevating everybody around him. Trying to think of any other notes I had.
Let me ask you a couple questions right in that sweet spot. So expectations of the team, you know, what's it look like where you would like to see him finish this year? What's the draft capital look like next year? What's the salary cap? Like, hockey's known for having one of the best salary cap structures as an organization compared to MLB or NFL as a whole. Like, how much room do they have? You know, that type stuff. And the other thing I'd like to ask you too while you're here would be how does a hockey draft work? Like, baseball, for example, is very hit and miss. Like, you're talking about lottery tickets out of high school, no idea. Like, there's no guarantee this guy's going to be a star. NFL, a lot more seasoned. You know, the first and second round guys usually end up being impactful players. Like, how does a hockey draft work a little bit too?
Yeah. So I'll start first off their draft, or I guess where they want to be this year. I would say they want to, you know, they're similar to the NBA where they got the draft lottery. So like last year, I think they were 3rd worst record in the league and they got the 1st overall pick. You know, the people will still be in comments today of every NHL tweet saying draft was rigged. They wanted him to go to Chicago to a big market, whatever. I don't care. We got the guy. That's all that matters. But I don't really care about that. I don't care. You know what? If it's rigged, sure. I don't care.
Yeah,
it works out well.
Right? Don't care.
Get over it.
Exactly. But no, I mean, they're just, you know, they started off the year, they were at 500, probably 15 games into the season. And then you, like I said, you saw those injuries, the behind or off the ice stuff happen. And I think they're one of the 2 worst records in the league with the Sharks, who's even more of a dumpster fire. But that's where I peg them to be. You know, some people we're saying playoffs this year. That's just not going to happen. You know, like you're not gonna make the playoffs the season.
There was
after
another
you
team
trade
in
Kane.
Chicago. People were talking about that tour, but we don't want to get into that.
Yeah, exactly.
Eric.
It's
You got it
those
wrong,
like
Eric.
the overhyped expectations. We don't
Right,
even need to get
right,
into that. But
right.
yeah, you know, I'd like to see them next year, maybe depending on how their draft picks kind of pan out, and I'll talk about that in a minute. You know, they have a lot of cap space. They only have 20 players under contract, or no, they only have 9 players like on their roster technically for next year that aren't free agents or anything like that. And then, you know, it dwindles down the next couple of years because they have a lot of guys that are either on two-way deals. So that means they can, you know, go up and down from the minor leagues.
So can I ask you a question about the minor leagues? So the Chicago Wolves, is that directly attached to the Blackhawks?
So they are right now. The Wolves are completely independent. They don't have any team. They don't have any major league team, if that makes sense. They just started that this year. So the Hawks minor league is Rockford.
Okay.
The Ice Hogs. So they'll the Wolves situation is weird. So I think they were the Hurricanes before. They were the Blues for a while.
Okay.
But they just have they have a group of guys that aren't affiliated with a team. I mean, any team I think can pick guys up from there.
Yeah, we have one here too. It's Omaha Lancers. Same thing down here.
Yeah,
the Omaha Lancers that got young kids and
that sounds like what's going on in Europe with all these football teams.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
it's interesting.
Get together and fucking make a squad and then just go.
And then go, So their draft capital is looking fantastic though. They have 2 first rounders next year, one of their own and then one from Tampa Bay, I want to say. 3 second rounders, 3 thirds, and I think a couple later rounds. So that's right there. That's fantastic. Like you really can't ask for more than that. It's probably a similar situation with the NFL team in Chicago. I won't say their name because we could just go off on a tangent. And then
No, go ahead. Continue.
I was just saying, the next year they have another 2 first round picks, 2 seconds, and I think a third and 2 fourths. So their draft capital is fantastic. Their cap space is fantastic. The only bad contract they have is in Seth Jones, a defenseman, which that was from the prior front office.
Good.
Made that trade and that contract.
Because the Stan Bowman era is over. And I want you to talk about what I don't necessarily I don't give a fuck, about the scandal and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But let's talk about front office structure. And then so basically Blackhawks front office had a change in the offseason. You bring in Connor Bedard, but they made some moves. You just broke down kind of how they moved.
Yeah.
What do you see? What happened at the change from the Bowman era to now, and where are they going?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think Bowman was still trying to relive off those 2010 teams. We saw their last chance, I think in 2016, they got swept by the Preds, and then he traded Panarin away, who's been an all-star ever since, probably a top 15, 20 player in the NHL. And they just didn't have, they missed out on a couple trades. Sometimes you can hit on trades when you're trading guys away and you're receiving good guys, but and it's kind of like Eric said, the salary cap in hockey is very hard to manipulate. You can't manipulate it anyway. So if you have people that are on your payroll, they're going to be on your payroll. You don't have any deferred money, anything like that. So it's something that, every year we saw them win the Stanley Cup, they had to get rid of guys the next year that were catalysts on those teams. And when we saw this new ownership change, it was kind of like, all right, we're moving on. Like, it sucks to see Patrick Kane put on a Red Wings uniform.
Oh, it sucks. That sucks. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. I didn't see it.
It didn't happen. It sucks to see, but you need to move past it. And I think that ushered in kind of this new era of, okay, obviously, and the biggest one with Stan Bowman was trading for Seth Jones, which great player, great defenseman, but he's not worth $9.5 million a year for the next 4 or 5 years.
And not only that, he doesn't currently fit your team. Like, he's a luxury you guys can't afford at this point. Like, if you guys are in title contention, you don't mind overpaying for somebody that fits right in the deal. But when you're trying to rebuild, he don't fit.
He doesn't fit. And it's not I wouldn't say it's a huge cap hit just because they don't have many of those players. But it could be in 2 to 3 years when they try and sign a free agent guy. That might limit their options a little bit. Now, hopefully at that point, maybe they'll be able to trade him away just because they'll be in the last year or two and they'll be like, hey, we'll take 85% of the rest of his contract or something like that. But yeah, I think that front office change was just the mindset of like, we need to move on. We can't live. I mean, you can live off of championships for, years to come.
I mean, he kind of made it easy to move on too.
Yeah, he made it very easy. He did not make good moves. And that's what I was trying to say is every move that he made was not a good move. So that, it gets emphasized even more. But yeah, it's a new era. They have really good draft capital. They have some draft picks from the past couple of years that have been doing amazing as well in the lower league. And then, kind of to finish that question out from Eric of kind of how the draft process works. So usually your top 3 or 4 picks will normally come in that next year and should be able to make an impact, but there's obviously different facets to that. But then once you get into like 10, like the top 10 picks, like maybe 5 through the rest of the draft, those guys will still need a year minimum, maybe even 3 years of playing junior hockey, college hockey.
So closer to MLB than the NFL, for example. Then
I would say it's closer to the MLB, but it's not because I mean, some of the kids are in high school, but like Bedard was drafted when he was 17, so yeah, he would still be in high school. So yeah, I'd say it's more to the MLB, but their players can jump in and play right away if that makes versus the MLB where you can't.
Yeah, you got to go to the minors. Rookie ball at least. You got to at least do rookie ball and low A.
Exactly. So yeah, the NHL you can hop in right away, and a lot of even first round picks in the NHL will play. They'll kind of go up and down between that minor league and the NHL, but there's a good chance that they will play, college and juniors for at least another year, maybe even another 2 to 3 to kind of get more developed. And it's not something I touched on before, but a lot of players in hockey, myself included, they'll do that juniors in between high school and college. So they will be 21-year-old freshmen. And then when they come out, they'll be 24, 25.
So that lends better to be able to get on the ice because your body is more mature, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it leads to a lot of people that maybe were like a little bit late bloomers, whether that's puberty or just skill. They get more developed as skill. And then they can come into professionals being a little bit more versed and a little bit more mature.
I've been wanting to ask you this for a minute. How the fuck did the NHL allow Las Vegas to be an expansion team and win a fucking championship?
So they're a tough one, because they were the first expansion team since, I think Carolina.
San Jose?
No, Carolina I thought was Carolina.
The Hurricanes were later.
Maybe Nashville, right?
Predator. I think the Predators are and
they've been since in the 90s, I thought, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
The Predators and I think San Jose came together. I thought
were they together?
Or Florida, or was the Florida Panthers or whatever?
It might have been. For some reason, maybe it's Columbus too. I know they came in early, or they came in somewhat recently. But yeah, Vegas, they just chose. So that was the first time they've had an expansion draft in 15, 20 years probably. So there was a lot of teams that just had so many players that they couldn't keep, if that makes sense. Because obviously you can only protect a certain amount of your roster. So, some of those guys that might not have gotten a chance to play very much, they were going to a team that was, they were kind of sold as the misfits where they're like, these teams didn't want you, so go and do it. And they built their team around winning in the present. So I think in 5 years, they're going to be a bottom team in the league. But they got a Stanley Cup for it. You see the Seattle team, which went a little bit more of a conservative route, and they took they didn't take some guys, that people were kind of scratching their heads like, why are you not taking this guy now if you want to win? And they were more of looking at it like, let's get capital, let's get younger guys that we can develop and do more.
The Kraken is going a different direction than what the Aces did.
Yeah, and that's what I think is cool about it is there's not a single way to do it. And I don't know. I think it's the game is growing more, and I think it was great to have a new team. And they're obviously they're in Vegas, so they're going to get fans, and the atmosphere there is unbelievable. But it's great to see a team come in, and then you have no excuses if you're a team. Like you have no excuses if you're a Columbus, if you're a Carolina, if you're a Florida, any one of those that maybe are like smaller markets, and they might not sell out every game. You're like, you can still build a team through solid drafting, making solid choices, if that makes sense.
No, I understand. I was just thinking about it. I said, I've been wanting to ask you this for like 2 years. Like,
Yeah.
how the fuck did they pull that off with all these talent, like with the Red Wings, with the Avalanche, with the fucking, the Sharks, with the, all these different teams that's been winning championships over the last, like, how do they pull that off? And then when you break down the, uh when you break down the the salary cap and the draft, you're just like, okay, now I kind of see where they're going. You know what I mean?
And it was just that thought of like, they had a bunch of guys that other teams essentially cast off and were like, we don't want you. And so I think if you can take that and kind of wrap it up, and it makes it into having a solid contending team. But I can talk, just a little bit. The one thing I wanted to cover is the World Juniors.
Before you go there, let me just ask 2 more questions, and then we'll get off the NHL. So the Blackhawks right now, and this is the cool part about learning about different sports. I didn't understand the point system until like I understood it. Let me just rephrase what I'm saying. I understood it, but I understand it more. I understand it more now that I'm a fucking that I keep up with the EFL overseas soccer. Now I understand the points. Like that shit is amazing. So the Blackhawks have lost 21 games.
Yep.
They've won 10, and then they've only tied once. They have 21 points on the season. They're down in the bottom, but I understand the point system. So here's my question. What's next for the Blackhawks after this season?
That's a tough question, because I think it looks at what your guys are doing that you drafted in the past year or two, how they're progressing. Some of them are excelling, some of them are, just kind of average. I think you're another year or two out on a big free agent signing class. I think you kind of want to see your young guys develop and then make those signings. They don't want to try and be too aggressive and then put themselves in a hole with cap space, because they have a lot of it, but there's no need to just go out and spend recklessly, especially in the NHL when your salary caps are so difficult.
Yeah, you don't want to pull a Padres, for example.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, got you.
Yeah, so I think you just don't want to get your money.
Trade deadline, right, Nick? Trade deadline. Like, I'm guessing might be a chance to maybe dump that defenseman, right? Or maybe move somebody for some more capital.
So the one thing, their goalie, Peter Mrazek, he's 33. He's been playing fantastic. He's kept them in a bunch of games, and I just keep saying pump his trade value up, because he's a guy that I think he's a free agent after this year. Like, if you can trade him to a team that needs a solid backup, they'll at least give you maybe, another third round, or maybe even a player that you can develop into later.
Yeah, perfect.
So I mean that it sounds like a lot of people stay away from hockey because they don't understand it, and the game itself
it moves fast.
It moves so fucking fast. Like, I'm an older guy, I can watch it, but it's like that's just like right. Long story short, the captain years, Kirk. I'm not Kirk. I said Captain Kirk. Taves and fucking what's his name? I was around.
Kane. Yep.
Patrick Kane. And the 2 defensemen. What was their fucking names?
Keith and Seabrook.
Oh my fucking god!
You.
And Keith lost his teeth in the playoffs.
Yep.
Oh my god! I was there for that.
Move.
I watched that like live or shit. So I do love the Blackhawks. I just like. It's weird, like black people, we kind of like watch it on the side, but we never get invested into it like we do. But when they're winning, it's like, no.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah, for sure. But so the state of the Blackhawks right now, you think that they're just,
I think they're treading water and they're looking ahead. That's the one thing I could say is they don't need to do anything. They want to see their young guys excel. So Connor Bedard and Lucas Reichel are 2 forwards that are guys that will be here for 5+ years. And then they have a defenseman, Kevin Krasinski. I probably mispronounced that. He's 19, I believe. It was going to even be a maybe that he was on the team this season, because he still had the opportunity to go back and play in his juniors, but he's too good for him to not be playing at this level. And those are kind of the 3 guys that I'm watching, of just seeing how they develop. And, whatever the team does, that's all right. If, there's a couple games that I've watched this year where it's like, they go up 2-0 and then they lose 5-2. And it's not because of a lack of effort. It's not because of a lack of coaching.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't have the firepower that some of these teams who are contending, or at least on the edge of contending, have a little bit more depth that they can bring and a lot of hockey too is matchups in terms of the lines. Like the Chicago Blackhawks third line is going to get beat by probably every single line of another contending team. And they're going to get, hemmed in their zone and they won't be able to change. And it'll just be, probably another goal against or something like that. So I think it's just treading water. It's painful to see. A lot of people were super pumped about the season, as they should be. You have probably the top generational talent since Connor McDavid coming out of this draft, and you were able to get him. So there's a reason to be excited. But I think, people need to learn to pump their brakes. And I was one of those people that was like, oh, maybe we couldn't make the playoffs this year. You just get excited about the season starting.
Yeah. Hey, so real quick before we wrap up on the NHL and we wrap up on the Blackhawks, I have to ask you just real quick. This is just general, like as a black man, like not really watching hockey growing up, so on and shit. What the fuck happens? Two things. What is the shift change rule? Like, how do you make up your lines as far as when they go in, when they come out, so on and so forth? And how far can I go beating somebody's ass? Those are the two questions I need to know.
Okay. Yeah. So the shift. So, the coach will put together lines. Some guys will change them every single game. That's probably not the best thing to do because you want to build some chemistry. The same thing as like a basketball. You want guys that how to play with. But, they change. I'd say the standard shift's probably 30 to 45 seconds. But obviously you can get ones that are way longer than that. And then, in terms of matchup, so if you're playing on your home ice and there's a face-off, right, you have last change. So that visiting bench, if they're making a change, you can wait until you see what guys go on the ice, and then you can put your guys on the ice.
Oh, so it's not stagnant. Like it doesn't say, hey, you 5 are coming at the same time, or you 3 are coming at the same time.
So it's not that. It's more of like, sometimes they will change all 5 guys, but because there's usually 3 D pairs, so there's three lines of 2D.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's usually 4 lines of forwards. So you can't match them up all the time with like the same forwards with the same D. But yeah, coaches will plan to put out certain forwards when they see certain forwards out, or a certain D out when they see, the top line coming out, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Because you would see Duncan Keith out there whenever fucking Ovechkin would be out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it doesn't matter. Like Duncan is out there.
He's out, and he'd be playing 25 minutes a night, which is absolutely insane because that's a period and whatever, a fifth or whatever it is, or a fourth.
Yeah.
I think I was right on my. And then in terms of fighting, it's going away in the game a little bit. But yeah, it's you used to get guys that would literally be paid just to be on the team.
The brawler, the goon.
Yep, the goon, exactly. So that's going away a little bit. It's still in the game. It's really up to the ref's discretion. So they could fight for 5 minutes if they wanted to. But you see them stopping them a little bit because especially, if their head's going down on the ice, anything like that. But yeah, it's unfortunately something that's leaving the game, which is probably for the better in terms of health. But I still think it's a part of the game that, gives it that kind of edge that other sports don't have.
Yeah, so we're gonna say goodbye to our friend Eric. He has something to go do. It's starting to get late in the evening for him. Eric, last words, and then me and Nick gonna finish out the night.
Yeah, very good. I enjoyed it. It was awesome, boys. Happy holidays.
Yeah,
Holidays,
Merry
Eric,
Christmas,
and
Eric.
Tell everybody at the house I said hello.
Will do.
Your girl.
I just want you to know, Ray, you remember that time your wife drank your good scotch with pop and stuff?
Yeah, it was weird.
My better half for my good scotch in plastic.
No!
Yeah, this happened. Yeah, no, plastic. She just put my good scotch in plastic.
Oh,
We're getting ready to
no.
go- I know. I can't believe it.
I thought you was drinking fucking mango juice or
Hell
pineapple
no.
juice or
That's a
something
good
like that.
scotch in plastic here. It's a good
The
scotch
good
in
stuff
plastic.
in the
No.
plastic.
Hey, that
Yeah, it
guy,
happened.
you tell him, her, whoever, you don't disrespect the scotch.
I know.
What is happening?
It's a disgrace.
Again, I think it's at the end of the year. Eric, have a good fucking end of the year.
Yeah.
We'll see you next year, brother.
It's Festivus. All right.
All right.
Good Christmas.
Merry
boys.
Christmas, Eric. See ya.
Later. All right. So
was awesome.
let's go back into the hockey. So you're saying
Yep.
that the fighting is pretty much done. That breaks my heart. But I did see a fight the other day. It was a pretty good fight. So they're still fighting. But okay, so penalties. Okay, let's just talk penalties. I saw a not. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna come back to penalties. One that pisses me off, and it seems like a lot of similarities between hockey and soccer. Right?
Yeah.
The offsides call in soccer and the offsides call in fucking hockey pisses me the fuck off. What the fuck is offsides? What is offsides?
So I've actually started watching Premier League a lot more. I like getting up if I'm up early in the morning, which I usually am, and I can throw it on. So hockey's at least a little easier in terms of there's a designated line on the ice. You don't have the soccer BS. Yeah.
The dotted line, yeah.
No, the blue line.
Right. Okay. Yeah. You're right. Blue. It's blue. Yeah.
So it's a little bit easier than soccer because you don't have kind of like you have to. I forget what the soccer one is. I don't even know. It's annoying.
It pisses me off.
It's damn annoying.
It's annoying, and then because I have a good friend of mine who lives in London. And he's an Arsenal fan. I talk to him damn near every week, and then I got caught up in that Welcome to Wrexham show, and now I'm a Wrexham fucking
super fan.
Yeah, Wrexham fan. Wrexham. Like I'm very much into all of that. So anyway, long story short, like continue with the hockey.
Yeah. So it's the same. It's in terms of you can't enter the zone, like your skates cannot enter the zone before the puck does. Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, I got it at the game, but
Brandon, yeah.
Yeah.
So your skates it's got to be both skates can't enter the zone before the puck. So you can drag your skates. Like your one skate could be way in the zone and you could drag your skate as long as it's on the blue line or like before it in what we call the neutral zone, then it's not offsides. The one
neutral
thing
zone is in between the two blue lines.
The two blue lines, exactly. Yeah. The one thing I hate is these reviews of offsides for goals. We saw it early, very, very early in the year with the Blackhawks.
Yep. With Connor. Yeah, they took the goal away because it was some bullshit.
It was 45 seconds before that even happened. And, there's a lot of discussion. I haven't seen it recently. There's a lot of discussion then of like, they need a certain time frame of like, hey, if you're offsides and then 30 seconds later, that has nothing to do with that offsides. If you score, that shouldn't, you shouldn't take the goal away. But then the other argument is, well, you shouldn't have been in the zone in the first place because it technically was offsides. So that I kind of have a love-hate relationship in terms of that. Cause like if it happens to your team, when you score a goal and you get one taken off, you're like, fuck, I hate it. But then if you're the one getting scored on and it's an offsides, you're like, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't, like they made the correct call. So I think it's a little bit of like the automated referee, automated umps with MLB, automated refs with NFL, watching videos. It's easy to go back and look at a play slow-mo and make the call.
Right. But if you're on the ice, it's just like
it's hard.
Tough. It's tough. Like slashing is easy. Fucking tripping's
pretty easy. Some of the hits
are easy.
They're borderline, but yeah, a good amount of them are pretty easy.
They're pretty easy, but I'm saying for the most part, some of the calls, the harder calls are like they're questionable. Like
they're right on the line.
They're right on the line. Yeah. Like, so that's the one thing when I was watching hockey very, very like fervently during the Kane and Taves years. I was like, why are these fuckers calling all this bullshit on my team? You know what I mean? They're calling all this bullshit on my team.
Yeah.
And like, when Kane hit the phantom fucking shot in the playoffs?
Oh, in 2010, yeah,
Oh my
to
fucking
win
God.
it. That
I
was
lost my
an
fucking mind.
emotional roller
I
coaster,
lost
man.
my mind. I never knew I could feel a certain way about hockey until that.
It's playoffs. You got to follow. I'll send you a guy that he had some viral tweets back in like maybe 2013
Mhm.
where he was like white people have been hiding hockey from us all this time and it's
Right,
fucking
right.
kick ass.
Yeah.
I'll send you his Twitter.
because they fucking hit. Like
It's
how?
entertaining.
Where can you not hit in hockey? Like hit the other guy
You mean like in the body, or do
in
you
the
mean
body.
yeah, in the body?
Like you can't hit him in the back, right? You can't hit him in
Yeah, so you can't hit them like in the back when they're facing the boards because that leads to essentially them breaking their
Right.
neck possibly. And then mostly like in anything up high is pretty sketchy, especially once you get your elbow up because there's elbowing. And then
you definitely can't hit him in the face with the stick.
yeah, or like cross check exactly. But
Cross check.
the other one is a lot of guys will do like kind of leg on leg hits or like knee on knee. Those can be super dangerous as well.
When I played NHL, like let me just think what year that was. Anyway, it was a hockey game.
Yeah.
You could hip check somebody into the fucking into
into the boards.
Yeah. That used to be my shit. I just wanted to hip check people.
It was awesome.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't see that much hip checking done nowadays in hockey nowadays. But at the same time, the Blackhawks are building something, trying to get back to glory days, right?
Yeah.
How they do that, they have to scout. And right now, you're telling me that the World Junior Hockey Tournament is going on.
Yes.
Right now. So talk to me about that and what's going on with the World Junior Hockey Tournament, who's in it and what's going on.
Yeah, so technically it's a U20 tournament, so anybody under 20 can participate in it. It's part of like the IIHF, so like the international, I don't know what it's essentially like what FIFA is to soccer. That's like the
right.
body that puts it on.
So basically anybody across the world who's in this organization can play, and the teams that are in it are pulling players from wherever to play with their team. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so this is like the first division of it. So they have two groups. Group A has Canada, Sweden, Finland, Germany, and Latvia, and then Group B has USA, Czech, Slovakia, Switzerland, and Norway. So usually the like bottom team, I think, gets kind of de-relegated, a little bit similar to the Premier League of that country. Then I think if it's a certain amount of years you stay in the bottom, I don't know that rule exactly, but there's a couple teams that kind of flow in between that second division and the first. So yeah, like I said, it's U20, but mostly you'll get 17 and 18-year-olds on it. We saw a couple years ago when the Blackhawks had Kirby Dach, who was their third overall back in 2018, 2019. He was on the Blackhawks and he went to go play in the World Juniors and then broke his wrist.
I remember that.
Yeah. So a lot of teams won't let their kids go play in that because they can, get an injury that's, that can hurt them down the long run. Now, granted, they'll get an injury playing no matter what if they're in the NHL. But like Connor Bedard technically would be able to go play in it again this year. But he played in it last year. He was the player of the tournament. He had, I think, the most points for Team Canada in its history. So it's great to see younger talent, kind of the guys that I'll be looking out for that are like Blackhawks guys. I think they have 4 guys on the USA team. Frank Nazar, who is a 2022 draft pick, and he plays for the University of Michigan. He's been excelling this year. He had a huge injury last year, so he was sidelined for most of it, but he's bounced back really well. And then I think the other guy I'll be watching a good amount is Oliver Moore. So he was their 19th overall pick last year. So he was kind of their second first-round pick.
So he's still in college?
So yeah, he's at Michigan too. Or no, sorry, he's at Minnesota. Yeah, he's at Minnesota.
So this is kind of like the MLB, where you got to finish out your year.
Yep.
And then at the end of your college year, you come.
Then you'll come. Yeah. So you'll see.
I didn't know that.
You'll see a lot of kids once they finish their college season, they'll go and play in the NHL or whatever it is.
Right.
But yeah, those two guys are kind of who I'm watching, like super, not like diligently, but they're two guys that should be playing alongside Bedard here in the future and have a real impact on the organization. Oliver Moore hasn't looked as good as he was supposed to be, but he's progressing in the right direction. And I mean, he's young. I think he's probably the same age as Bedard. So, saying that he doesn't look that good is like probably he's still a very good hockey player. Let's put it that way.
Right. He's got room to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it's a huge tournament because it's kind of playing for that like playing for your nation. In the Olympics right now for hockey, they don't have NHL players because of some, Gary Bettman's the commissioner of the NHL and he's a little bit of a bonehead. So this is like kind of what you get in terms of like watching your nation's top young talent play against each other.
Yeah.
There's nothing, and I think the thing that makes it special is no other sports really do this. In terms of seeing top draft picks and stuff like that, compete against each other for their nation. So it's cool. The only downside is it's only on NHL Network, which I don't even have that because I have YouTube TV and they don't.
It's not on YouTube TV. Fuck, I don't have YouTube TV.
I find a way to stream it,
but I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. I find a way to somehow stream it. Usually I look it up, but that's the one downside to it, which, Greg has pestered me very much saying, why the hell can't the NHL put their games on ESPN? I've heard it all from him.
To my brags?
Yeah.
Hey, fuck you, Greg. Leave Dick alone.
Yeah. He so they haven't done a very good job of marketing very well, but hopefully they get it better here in the next couple of years. But yeah, that's the one thing I'm looking to watch here in the next week or so, aside from just normal Blackhawks games. I know they played tonight.
They play the Blues. They played one of their rivals.
That should be a good game.
The Blues and the Red Wings, I know, are just like the guys we just
you hate.
Yeah, we hate those two guys. But I mean, Detroit Red Wings, they're like the fucking Packers to the Blackhawks.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? But then again, St. Louis Blues are like the Lions to the
and the Blues are in our division. Thankfully, the Red Wings are not. They're not even in our conference anymore. So that's like a little bit.
They changed it.
Yeah, they changed. Gosh,
when?
It was at 2015 because we played them in the 2013 playoffs in the
right.
in the
I didn't conference. Know that. I've always hated them. So I've always hated them.
So they changed to the Eastern Conference. So at least we don't have. They're not as big of a rival as the Packers are now.
Yeah, but
they're still. I mean, I hate Detroit in every aspect, and I'm sure if Elise was on here, we could go back and forth.
Yeah,
for hours. But yeah, that's a little wrap up on the NHL. It's it's just exciting times ahead for the Blackhawks.
I'm excited about the Blackhawks going forward. It's because Connor Bedard, Junior, the fellas comeback Junior, he fucking loves Connor.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably been to like 3 or 4 games this year, and it's just like he's electrifying the league. Like they're talking about him in the vein of Ovechkin, of Gretzky, of fucking his favorite player. He played him the other night. Not the other night. It was like a month ago. He played
McDavid.
No, he played. That's not the name I'm looking. I'm not hearing his name. But he played against one of the better players ever in the game that he grew up watching skate, and was like he's the greatest skater he ever seen him. I can't think of it. Anyway, long story short, Connor is just like really. So I got a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
Before we go, wrister or slap shot, easy or hard?
Like which one's
easier?
Which one's easier?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put. I'm going to put a wrister as easier because most of the time the slap shots, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go down, and if it hits me, it hits me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then on defense, the blocking. How do you like? Why do you put your body in harm's way of that fucking hard puck?
I've gotten that question many times. I don't know why. Still. The reason, I don't know why. I mean, it's it's just at this point, it's almost like a part of what I do. Like, I'm just like
it's gonna hit you at like 80 miles per hour.
Yeah, hey, trust me, man. If I could go back, I'd probably rather be a forward, but it's too late. And I've told
defenseman, it's over with.
Yeah, and I've told people like once I am done graduating, then I'll be skating out. Like I won't be playing goal. I'll be skating out and I'll be a forward. I'm ready to score some goals.
Yeah. Oh my God. Anyway, Nick, it was a pleasure, man. I'm glad we
thank
was
you, Ray.
finally able to get you on the Juke Joint.
Yes,
Get
sir.
you here. We've had, mad numbers popping up on the stream.
I love
so
it.
Over this time, we've had upwards of 15, 20 people. So
I love that.
And that's just on YouTube. That's
On
just,
YouTube, yeah, you never know on
I even know on Twitter.
X or Twitter, whatever the hell it's called.
But I'm glad we finally got you on, and this is not
Yes,
the
sir.
last time you're gonna be able to talk hockey.
Absolutely.
Depending on what your schedule is.
Yep.
But enjoy your holidays.
Thank you very
Enjoy your
much.
time away. At home, and then when
Yep.
you get back, enjoy the training and getting through the rest of the year. You say
Yes,
you
sir.
got like 15 games left?
Yeah, I think like 14 with playoffs, probably at least 15, maybe 20.
Okay, cool. So 15 to 20 games left
Yep.
to make the playoffs. So good luck in those. And we're gonna wrap this up. This has been
sir.
RAEs Juke Joint. We're gonna turn the lights off. We're gonna shut everything down
Have a
and
Merry
be out
Christmas.
of here. And yeah, happy holidays to everybody that
Holidays.
celebrates and everything like that. And we out of here.
Let's do it.
All right, bro.
See you.